On the news tonight, state government refunds unauthorized fees levied on students of state colleges of nursing. Public and private schools resume for third term academic session. Nigeria Labour Congress proposes sanctions for defaulting governors. Abroad, U.S. House of Representatives approves new aid package to Israel. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on Delta Television News tonight. My name is Onome Iyarowe. Following the directive by the state governor, Honorable Sheriff Oborewori, the State Ministry of Health has commenced the refund of unauthorized fees charged students in the state-owned colleges of nursing Asaba and Sapele by the Department of Nursing. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joseph Onojaime, stated this during the refund exercise at the State College of Nursing Asaba. Dr. Onojaime disclosed that the state governor, Honorable Sheriff Oborewori, has graciously approved the immediate refund of all unauthorized levies charged students of the state colleges of nursing, Asaba and Sapele. Dr. Onojaime said the gesture was as a result of the concerns of the governor that parents and students were not to be financially overburdened, especially during this period of economic difficulty arising from the current inflation trend in the country. Dr. Onojaime stated that in response to the complaints of the students and after the careful study of same, that certain fees among other fees charged were not authorized. The governor directed immediate stoppage of the charges and immediate refund to the affected students. He said the governor condemned the practice and has directed that such illegal levies outside the statutory approved payments should be immediately refunded to the affected students.
₦10,000 building levy by the immediate past leadership of the nursing profession. So we had to retrieve those money and ensure that they are refunded to the student. This should send a note of warning to the SUG and the management of the various schools of nursing that such illegal collection will not be tolerated, that His Excellency's more agenda does not support those kind of illegal collection, extortion from students across the School of Nursing.
Commissioner, a total of 162 students were affected, 152 from the College of Nursing Asaba, comprising years 1, 2, 3, and PTS class, while 10 students were affected in the College of Nursing Sapele. The state government has given its assurance to enhance peace and security for meaningful development and realistic reforms. The assurance was given when the Special Advisor to the State Governor on Peace Building and Conflict Resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo, met with leaders of Otegele and Ugbo Olaja communities in Warri South local government area of the state. In Asaba, the report.
Said the Governor Sheriff Oborewori-led administration was paramount on maintaining peace existing in the state to avail Deltans more growth in a crisis-free state. The special advisor noted that his office would stop at nothing to see that issues brought before them were settled amicably to ensure that no part was aggrieved.
We will look at those issues and factor the proper way to make peace for ourselves. Let there be no quarrel. Let everybody try to live peacefully.
Chief Uzo, who met with the leaders of Otegele and Ugbo Olaja communities over boundary disputes pertaining to pipeline crossing, maintained that both communities should live as one as they had been. He also maintained that no community should use talks to disrupt the peace in the state and that of foreign investors, while adding that his office would visit the place of dispute to permanently resolve the issue. The special advisors, Chief Uzo, enjoined leaders of Ugbo Olaja community to carry on dealings with the petroleum company present in the area to bring about betterment of the community.
We've agreed that if the Ugbo Olaja people, as they said, that they've started pursuing their case through the company, that they should go ahead. If the company gives them recognition and benefits come, it's for benefit for the whole state, not even only to the community. That the Otegele people should not divide them, should not stop them from doing that. They have their right to go and pursue their daily living through the company. If the company grants them, it's okay. If the company does not grant them, they should also find this way to accommodate them, because they are neighbors, they are brothers, so that they will live in peace.
Leaders of Otegele and Ubolaja thanked the special advisor for wading into the matter and pledged to live as one to foster peace in the state.
Thank you formally for the time you spent. Live in peace. So we take it from there, we are going to live in peace. So we are grateful to every one of you for the advice that you have given to us.
Also present at the meeting was the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Olufemi Abamiwanda, represented by the State Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Anna Adeoshola, Executive Assistant to the Governor on Peace Building and Conflict Resolution, Sir Emmanuel Ebo, amongst others.
The Commissioner in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Community Support Services and Girl-Child Development, Ms. Orode Udwaha, has approved the commencement of collection of application forms from artisans for the 2024 Delta State Government More Grant Scheme, which is specifically tailored to artisans aged 21 to 50. The target group comprises those with skills in tiling, vulcanizing, plumbing, carpentry, welding, electrical works, and other manual labor skills. A statement signed by the Director of Public Communication, Mrs. Teresa Oliko, says application forms will be available for collection at the Secretariat of each of the 25 local government areas of the state today, April 22, and tomorrow, April 23, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. each day. The statement adds that forms are to be collected free of charge with a valid means of identification, such as the National Identity Card, Permanent Voter Card, National Driver's License, or International Passport. Applicants must also be indigents of Delta State, as well as indigents of the local government area where the form is collected, even as they must also be residents of their local government areas of origin. According to the statement, artisans who have benefited previously from any Delta State government grant or intervention program are not qualified to apply, while all applicants will undergo a screening and verification process, while those who do not meet the requirements will be disqualified. Application forms are to be submitted at the local government secretariat where the forms were collected, and the closing date is Wednesday, April 24, not later than 3 p.m. Today marks the commencement of the 2023-2024 third term academic session for public and private primary and secondary schools in the state. Our reporter, Violet Moye, visited several schools in the state capital to assess their compliance with the resumption date. Her report.
Activities. At the Uzigwe Primary School, the turnout was impressive, with pupils already settled in their classrooms and engaged in learning activities. The head teacher, Mrs. Chukura Violet, encouraged parents to ensure their children resume classes promptly, adding that pupils would be having their resumption test by Thursday.
The most important thing, every child that came to school today must have a gift of exercise book. It's a must. That's how I'm doing it. I must give them something to show that they're in school today. This first day of resumption is a must. It's a must. And knowing fully well that by Thursday they will write welcome back test. It's a must. So that one too is into turn up.
At the West End Mixed Secondary School, Principal Mrs. Oge Augusta affirmed that there was an impressive turnout of students with lectures already underway and teachers actively preparing for the academic section. She advised parents to motivate their children to return to school promptly to avoid missing out on important lessons.
They have cleaned up their classrooms and lessons have started. We're already revising because they're going to have their welcome back test on Thursday. That's the usual thing. Once they come in, they will have their welcome back test. So most of the children are here. The teachers are also doing revision for them. Also to let the teachers know that this is the final lap for the session. This is third term, and they have to put in all their efforts, because this time around, it is the ministry that will set the questions, it's not the teachers.
Some students expressed their excitement at being back in school for the term and urged their peers to join them back in school.
I feel excited and I feel happy because that term is usually a great term and we learn a lot.
That first week of resumption, some things have been dropped down from teachers.
Like for this term, I'm actually preparing myself for the upcoming promotion exam. I'll make sure that I do my best.
Violet Moye reporting.
The television main news. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, has attributed some issues in Nigerian universities to the incidence of underage students who do not know what university education is all about. He made the assertion while speaking with newsmen after monitoring the ongoing Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, in some of the centers in Abuja. Professor Maman decried the fact that a lot of students in the universities these days were too young and did not understand what university education was all about. He pointed out that many of them migrated from a controlled environment to one where they were in charge of their own affairs, adding that if they were too young, they would not be able to manage properly. The minister advocated a benchmark of 18 years for admission into universities, while cautioning parents not to push their children or wards too much. Professor Maman commended the conduct of this year's UTME, describing malpractice level as very low and attributing it to the use of technology in the examinations. The federal government is set to launch about 2,700 compressed natural gas-powered buses and tricycles before May 29, when President Bola Tinubu will mark 1 year in office. The special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, revealed this in a statement he signed in Abuja. The statement added that over 600 buses are targeted for production in the first phase, which will be accomplished this year, adding that the federal government was also set to deliver 100 conversion workshops and refueling sites spread across 18 states before the end of the year. In October 2023, about 5 months after the removal of petrol subsidy, President Tinubu launched the presidential CNG initiative to deliver cheaper, safer, and more climate-friendly energy. He noted that the CNG initiative was designed to deliver compressed natural gas, especially for mass transit. The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, yesterday gave a strong indication that it would press for the inclusion of a clause which would prescribe sanctions for governors and local government administrators who failed to implement the new minimum wage. The National Treasurer of the NLC, Comrade Hakeem Ambali, who disclosed this in an interview in Abuja, said the refusal of state governors to pay the current minimum wage was a result of lack of punitive measures in the Minimum Wage Act of 2019. President Bola Tinubu, through his Vice President Kashim Shettima, had on January 30 inaugurated the 37-member panel on the new minimum wage. With its membership cutting across the federal and state governments, the private sector and organized labor, the panel is to recommend a new national minimum wage for the country. Meanwhile, the 37-member tripartite committee on minimum wage appointed by the federal government will hold a meeting this week to debate proposals by stakeholders on the new minimum wage. An executive bill is also expected to be sent to the National Assembly as a form of amendment to the current Minimum Wage Act. The minimum wage to be unveiled is expected to cushion the effects of the removal of subsidy on premium motor spirit. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NSCDC, has confirmed 8 deaths and over 208 suspected new cases following an outbreak of a strange illness in Sokoto State. The manager of the center, Dr. Ibrahim Usman, revealed this at an interactive session with officials of the State Ministry of Health, stressing that the incident happened in Sabon Birni and Isa local government areas of the state. Dr. Usman stated that prompt measures have been taken by the NCDC and the state government to control the spread of the yet-to-be-identified disease, as samples were taken to NCDC laboratories for analysis, adding that the illness manifests with symptoms of abdominal disorder, fever, vomiting, and sudden weight loss. The state deputy governor, Mr. Idris Mohammed Gobir, had told the Minister of Health, Professor Ali Pate, at a courtesy call that the strange disease had killed many in Isa. Mr. Gobir urged the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, do the needful with a view to identifying and curtailing the continued spread of the disease to other areas of the state. The Nigerian Army has vowed to avenge the killing of 2 officers and 4 soldiers in an ambush in Niger State at the weekend. The Army spokesman, General Onyema Nwachukwu, who confirmed this, stated that the bodies had been found and remains of the Muslims among them buried, while the 2 injured soldiers in the ambush are receiving treatment at the military hospital, as the names of those killed had not been disclosed. The Niger State Governor, Mohammed Umaru Bago, expressed his deepest sympathy with the security agencies who are daily making sacrifices to ensure the safety of citizens, with most of them paying the supreme price. He assured the Nigerian Army and every other conventional and non-conventional security agencies that his administration will not rest on its oars in providing all the needed support towards halting the nefarious activities of bandits. Governor Maru Bago also commiserated with the families of the slain personnel and other vigilance group members. The Inspector General of Police IGP, Mr. Kayode Gbetokun, has advised the federal government to merge the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) and the Road Safety Corps (FRSC) with the police for effectiveness. Mr. Gbetokun gave the advice at the National Dialogue on State Policing, organized by the House of Representatives in Abuja, with the theme Pathways to Peace, Re-Imaging Policing in Nigeria. The IG, represented by the Assistant Inspector General, DIG of Police, Mr. Ben Okoro, said that the NSCDC and the FRSC were a duplication of the police. He noted that Nigeria was not ripe enough for state police, noting that the police were battling with inadequate training as well as lack of adequate manpower, stressing that most police barracks had dilapidated due to lack of maintenance and renovation. The Inspector General emphasized that state police would create avenues for some state governors to suppress the opposition in their states, adding that the state police would not be able to combat terrorism, kidnapping, and banditry because they required enormous resources to combat. He called for improved training of personnel to enable modern policing, adding that funding was necessary to help maintain internal security. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission Ncom and the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria (FMBN) have announced plans to launch the Diaspora Mortgage Scheme by July, which would allow Nigerians in the diaspora to become home owners in the country. The Managing Director and Chief Executive of FMBN, Mr. Shehu Osidi, in a meeting with the Ncom Chairperson, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa in Abuja, said the scheme would create credible investment opportunities for Nigerians abroad and at home. Mr. Osidi stated that more test runs will be done for the next 3 months to ensure a seamless and user-friendly portal, and expressed confidence that the project would be launched before the second half of the year as initially promised. He added that the scheme provides a platform where diaspora Nigerians can access funding facilities for housing projects and is a recognition of the diaspora's efforts to Nigeria's sustainability. The mortgage scheme was planned for Nigerians in the United Kingdom, United States of America, and Canada. The scheme was initially planned to be launched in February 2024, but was delayed by the FMBN leadership transition. You're watching the Delta Television main news. Up ahead, U.S. House of Representatives approves new aid package to Israel. Details of this and more after this short break. Please stay tuned. Glad to have you back to the Delta Television main news. The global scene is next as we join our world news desk.
The United States House of Representatives has approved billions of dollars in new military aid for Israel, which is still raging its brutal war against the Gaza Strip, despite mounting worldwide concern about the fate of people in the besieged enclave. The plan, which could be considered by the U.S. Senate tomorrow, would primarily support Israel's Iron Dome air defense. The House also approved military aid for Ukraine, strengthened Taiwan's defenses, and threatened to ban Chinese-owned TikTok. The 4 bills in the $95 billion package were overwhelmingly adopted quickly.
On this vote, the yeas are 366 and the nays are 58. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
U.S. President Joe Biden said in a statement that the legislation would deliver critical support to Israel and Ukraine, provide desperately needed humanitarian aid to Gaza, Sudan, Haiti, and other locations, and bolster security and stability in the Indo-Pacific. A total of $13 billion in military assistance has been allocated for Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the much appreciated aid bill showed strong support for Israel and defends Western civilization. According to the legislation, more than $9 billion will be earmarked to address the dire need of humanitarian assistance for Gaza, as well as other vulnerable populations around the world. The Palestinian president, on the other hand, described the U.S. House of Representatives' approval of billions of dollars to Israel as an aggression against the Palestinian people. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak pledged today to start sending asylum seekers to Rwanda within 10 to 12 weeks, telling the upper house of parliament that he will force the new legislation through despite its opposition. Mr. Sunak said the government had booked commercial charter planes and trained staff to take migrants to Rwanda, part of a policy he hoped would boost his Conservative Party's flagging fortunes before an election later this year.
Get flights off the ground, we will deter illegal migrants from coming here, and we will finally stop the boats.
Tens of thousands of migrants, many fleeing wars and poverty in Asia, the Middle East and Africa, have reached Britain in recent years, mostly by crossing the English Channel in small boats on risky journeys organized by people smuggling gangs. Take 2. Organized by people smuggling gangs. The move has been held up repeatedly by the House of Lords, and it could face further legal challenges if it passed Parliament. Stopping the flow is a prime goal for the Conservative government, but critics said the plan to deport people to Rwanda is inhumane and that the East African country is not a safe place. Our Portuguese oil company, Galp Energia, has disclosed that an estimated 10 billion barrels of oil has been discovered in Namibia. The company revealed that it had made the disclosure.
The State House of Assembly has commended the government for paying attention to every sector of education in the state. The chairman, House Committee on Education, Honorable Charles Emetulu, gave the commendation in continuation of its oversight visit. Henry Osiayo reports.
The House Committee on Education, led by the chairman, Honorable Charles Emetulu, the Commissioner for Secondary Education, Mrs. Rose Ezewu, and her counterpart in primary education, Dr. Kingsley Ashibogu, said the visit was timely and reiterated the ministry's commitment towards working with the House Committee in attaining the organizational aim of the MORE agenda. They highlighted some of the challenges facing the ministries, to include vandalization of infrastructures by host communities, lack of teachers, especially in rural areas across the state, and encroachment of school lands by communities. The commissioners assured that at the end of the present administration, public schools in the state will be better developed.
The series of problems is one, encroachment of our schools, which most of them are the community leaders encroaching our school premises. Secondly, the lack of teachers in the secondary school. The last employment our father, His Excellency, did was 1,500 teachers into the field. When divided, it was 2 teachers per each school, because we have 489 secondary schools in the state.
We are overwhelmed because we feel that your visit is timely. Therefore, as we welcome you, we want to reiterate our commitment towards working with the House Committee and maintaining a very, very cordial working relationship so as to attain the organizational aim of this administration.
Earlier, Sir Augustine Ogoro, who doubled as a permanent secretary for both ministries, in his address said the state government, in its pursuit for a free and qualitative education, does not allow the payment of fees in public primary and secondary schools. Sir Ogoro highlighted some achievements of the ministries, to include the construction and renovation of classrooms in schools across the state, as well as provision of furniture to students and teachers in public schools.
Over the years, particularly from 2015 to date, a total of 399 projects have been awarded in the public primary schools, out of which 311 projects have been completed, while 88 are ongoing. These projects translate into 765 classrooms constructed, 1,564 classrooms renovated, 91,668 students' furniture, and 9,322 teachers' furniture supplied.
Responding, Honorable Emetulu said the state government places a premium on education at all levels. Hence, successive administrations have invested much in the sector.
The state government wants to pay very particular attention to every layer of education in the state. So Delta is the one state that has a primary education that is represented at Executive Council. a secondary and a tertiary one also represented.
Addressing some of the issues raised by the ministries, the House Committee on Education chairman advised that schools should stop giving out their feed for social and religious activities, as the money being realized may not be able to repair the damages done to infrastructures. On the issue of encroachment of school land, Honorable Emetulu advised the ministries to ensure that they fence their schools. He assured the ministries that the House Committee on Education was ready to synergize with the ministries and the various MDAs under it.
It is incumbent on the ministries that as they plan their activities for next year, they find a way to make provisions to tackle some of these challenges. I do not subscribe to the issue of allowing some people to pay PTA because of security. No, I don't think that is the way out of it. The way out of it is to employ security men to man your schools. Stop using them for religious activities and for social activities.
He also harped on a more robust need for the relationship between the ministries and the committee. Members of the House Committee include the chairman, Honorable Charles Emetulu, the vice chairman, Honorable Benson Obire, Honorable Ferguson Onwon, Honorable Emmanuel Senebe, Honorable Matthew Omonade, Honorable Chukudi Dafe, Honorable Bridget Anyafolo, and Honorable Marilyn Okowa Daramola. Henry Usiayu reporting.
Commission has revealed that it has brought about 2.36 trillion in discretionary and non-discretionary funds under custody following updates to the guidelines for collective investment schemes in the country. The Commission last year proposed amendments that would address the complaints of players in the collective investment scheme segment of the capital markets. Providing an update on the proposed guidelines, the chief economist at SEC, Dr. Oke Umano, said funds in the discretionary and non-discretionary windows had been brought under custody to enhance investors' protections. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, says it is expecting that the Dangote refinery will reduce the price of its diesel further to about 700 naira per litre. The National Vice President of IPMAN, Mr. Ahmed Fashola, stated this while commending the Dangote refinery for reducing the price of diesel from over 1,200 naira to 1,000 naira. Mr. Fashola maintained that the marketers have high expectation that the price of diesel would still go down. According to him, the rebound of the naira against the dollar will bring about an appreciable reduction in the diesel price. The IPMAN boss explained that the price would be reduced because the challenges of shipment, some duties, and others have been removed since the product is being produced locally.
And now for some sports stories. The Nigeria Premier Football League, NPFL, has announced there will be a readjustment in its calendar ahead of what is expected to be a crucial part of the season. According to the NPFL, there will be a pause in the season after match day 34 to allow Rivers United to play their outstanding matches. Rivers United have a backlog of outstanding matches to be played following their involvement in the CAF Confederation Cup. Stanley Eguma's side were eliminated from the competition 2 weeks ago after a 2-1 aggregate defeat to defending champions Usma of Algeria. The rearrangement was also necessitated by the involvement of some NPFL clubs in the Federation Cup. Match days 35 to 38 will be rearranged at later dates. The 2023-2024 NPFL season is expected to end next month. And now to end Delta Television main news, a look at the major stories we brought you. Following the directive by the State Governor, Honorable Sheriff Oborori, to the State Ministry of Health to to commence the refund of unauthorized fees charged students in the state-owned colleges of nursing Asaba and Sapele by the Department of Nursing. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joseph Onojaime, has stated that during the refund period, they exercise at the State College of Nursing. Today marks the commencement of the 2023-2024 third term academic session for public and private primary and secondary schools in the state. The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, yesterday gave a strong indication that it would press for the inclusion of a clause which would prescribe sanctions for governors and local government administrators who failed to implement the new minimum wage. The National Treasurer of the NLC, Comrade Hakim Ambali, who disclosed this in an interview in Abuja, said the refusal of some state governors to pay the current minimum wage was as a result of lack of punitive measures in the Minimum Wage Act of 2019. And the U.S. House of Representatives has approved billions of dollars in new military aid for Israel, which is still raging its brutal war against Gaza Strip, despite mounting worldwide concern about the fate of people in the besieged enclave. The plan, which could be considered by the U.S. Senate tomorrow, would primarily support Israel's Iron Dome air defense. So much for Delta Television News. On behalf of the news editor and the production team, this is Onome Iyarowe, thanking you for watching. To have a very beautiful night rest.